Alrighty, let me straighten that. The new surf model from Armstrong. Now this is, as the name suggests, purely orientated for the highest performance in the surf. That means prone foiling and toe foiling. So for me, this has pretty much been all I've ridden since I got this final production one. Now, things that have changed, things that have really helped with the development of this board. First thing, flatter rocker. There you are. Whew. Obviously, riding a very small board. This is 4.5, and obviously, it doesn't paddle that great. It's tiny, but flattening out the rocker has really helped with the paddle performance and the ease of catching wave on such a small board. Now, riding something like the mid-length, longer, more volume, of course, it paddles in easier. But once you're up and riding, this just has the highest performance, ease of turning, and the most responsive. So that's kind of why we're trying to go and ride such a small board. Whew. We're good. Now, other things with this board that I really noticed is really small chines on the rails. What's that has translated to is the volume or the thickness of the board is much thinner, and that gives you a more connected feel and a more responsive feel to the board. When you ride, whew, here we go. When you ride thicker boards, one of the things you notice is you feel a little less connected to the board, a little more disconnected. So having such a thin board just gives them more response, ease from transitioning from one turn to the next. Whew. Alrighty. Now, with that thinner profile, much flatter on the bottom, as well as the flatter rocker, it actually makes it a lot easier to hit the white water. Do those big, full roundhouse wraparounds back into the white water. Because it's so flat in the rocker and on the bottom, it just glances, rides the wave and slowly pulls back up, rather than really bearing into the white water and then getting bucked. So definitely something that I've noticed with that. Probably not what everyone's looking for when they're buying a prone board, but each to their own. Now, it's not crazy narrow. So this is the 4.5, and it is from memory 17.25 wide. So it's not as narrow as, say, the smallest mid-length board. But the reason for that is when you're paddling in with these boards, you need to be really close to the energy source. You're close to the pocket or you're paddling in white water and it's unstable. When you're going to pop up in that situation, if you have a very narrow board, it can be a bit tippy when you put your hands on the deck. So being that touch bit wider, when you're in that energy source, it is easier to pop up. And that was kind of the balance of not going too narrow with this board. So look, similar, like I said, with being the flat rocker, the deck rocker is also really flat. And the main thing with that is with prone boards, you're moving your feet around a lot. As you kick off to pump, you might be moving your back foot further forward or your front foot, bringing it in, changing your mast position as well. So if you have your flat deck rocker, you can move your feet around, move your mast around, and it doesn't change the angle of the board or the feel of the board. It stays really neutral, even feeling regardless of where you are. And that was really key for me. Something that I look for in a lot of prone boards and what I'm sort of testing and riding. Just gives it a really similar feel with it, not too many more variables added in. So look, to me, this board is just the ultimate for prone and toe foiling. Obviously, you can get a more responsive feel if you go to something like a tray board, like the WKTs, but I really struggled in ways with them being such low volume. You can't really paddle them. You get stuck in the impact zone. They're hard to paddle out. And the same, when you're getting started, they sink down so much. So you're not riding with straps, kind of hard to keep your feet on them and you kind of lose them as they sink down too fast. So look, that's kind of why I've been preferring these for toe. But to me, ride something similar to your surfboard volume. I'm riding a 24 litre. I usually surf on a 25 litre. That's just where I've ended up. But look, similar volume to what you surf, these really are for advanced level riders looking to maximize their performance on the wave, or you can size up and go to something a little bit bigger to learn on, but still have that super responsive feel. If you have very soft waves that are just sort of peaking, really gentle, you want to kind of glide in on them a bit earlier, I'd still recommend a mid-length. Those just glide in so well, catch the wave so easily. But if you want the maximum performance then when you're on the wave, but sacrifice a little bit of those other qualities, this is the board. This to me is what I'm all about. I love the prone coiling, and this board has been mental for me. Last thing, weight. Now, for a production board, this thing is insanely lightweight, incredibly durable. I can't put a dent in it if I tried. But if you compare it to a full custom board, super lightweight, less amount of carbon and glue, it's not as light as that. So on the production, for a production board, insanely light, but on that sort of full custom board, it's not as light. But the benefits are those boards will dent really easily. This you cannot put a compression into. You won't see any heel marks, foot marks. It'll last as long as you want. You don't have to be delicate with it. With those boards, you do. So look, it's a balance of durability, and I find in this sport, it's a game of pros and cons. There's not everything's a clear cut. It's the best. It's a game changer. There's a lot that comes with a negative, and that's where this weight kind of is that balances as light as they can get it, but still have great durability. So look, that's my thoughts on the board. I'm absolutely loving it. Last one, please. This is the small one, but for me it's big. The tail pad is a regular surf pad. That little kick on the tail there, that is a standard. I think it's 28 or 30 mil, anywhere from 25 to 30 mil. But that's a standard kick pad on a surfboard. And for me, I've had it with other boards where they go even smaller on the kick on the tail pad. So when you slide your back foot back quite aggressively, really in a critical part of the wave, and it can slip off the back. But having that steeper surf style kick pad means you can push that back foot straight on the back of the kick. It's so much better. It sounds like a small thing, but just look, details that I noticed. So yeah, look, I'm loving these boards. So good. Stoked to see Armstrong really developing a high performance prone board. So yeah, contact your local store, I guess. If you can demo them, always recommend demoing boards or gear before you buy. It just means gear is expensive. And so look, ride something first, helps you make your mind up. Or yeah, look, happy to hit me up on Instagram, Oscar_foil. Yeah, if there are any questions, happy to answer any. So help you choose what's right for you.